Well, I will say this right now. I have never been so happy to be a flip-flopper on a movie. Blade Runner, released in 1982 and is directed by one of the greats, Ridley Scott, who is behind such films as Alien, Thelma and Louise, Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, and Prometheus. The film stars, of course, Harrison Ford, Rutger Hauer, Sean Young, and Edward James Olmos. In the year 2019, holy crap, that's 2 years from now. Society has advanced tremendously to the point where we have developed realistic artificial intelligence. Basically robots, and these robots are called replicants. They look and sound like normal people, but their emotions and social skills might be a little wonky. And these replicants have gotten out of control, staging revolts on off-world mining planets, so the government has called for them to be destroyed, or retired as they call it. Enter the Blade Runners, the detectives who hunt down the replicants and retire them. Right now there are 4 major replicants who have returned to Earth, and Blade Runner Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, is called in to hunt them down. Now, I think that this movie and Alien are the 2 movies that really put Ridley Scott on the map. This is one of those movies that has really influenced current directors and cinematographers that are working in the industry today. This is a straight-up film noir, so it's very dark, it's very gritty, it's always raining, we have an alcoholic detective, and we have our femme fatale character. It's just done with a science fiction backdrop. And I have to say, the backdrop of this movie is absolutely beautiful. The visual effects still hold up today. I love that in the 80s, everyone thought by the years of 2010 and on that we would be having flying cars, and it's 2017, and I haven't seen one. A very ambitious society the 80s were. Now, this movie is vastly loved by film enthusiasts today, but back when it was released in 1982, not so much. It was a box office failure, and the critics were really mixed on it. But that was with the original theatrical cut. Had this weird voice-over that Harrison Ford did, you know, to kind of fit the setting of a film noir. But since then, there are so many cuts of this movie. There's an international cut, there's a VHS cut, there is a blah 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 cut, just so many different cuts of this movie. When I first saw this movie 10 years ago, it was the director's cut, and I have to say at the time, I wasn't really digging it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. When you say, hey, this is a science fiction movie with Harrison Ford, my mind immediately goes to Han Solo. So I was very taken aback when we see this dark and depressed Deckard character, and I really didn't like it. Now, fast forward 10 years, and I've come to really appreciate the inner workings of the film industry, and on this viewing, I gotta say, I really like this movie. By the way, I saw the final cut version, which was actually recommended to me by a friend, Jerry Dennis, and I have to say, if this is going to be your first viewing of Blade Runner, check out the final cut. It is the best. Instead of looking at this movie through a action-adventure type lens, go into this movie expecting a psychological thriller. It's a commentary on what it means to be human. The replicants have been implanted in their programming to shut down after 4 years. So basically, after 4 years, they die. And Rutger Hauer's character is trying to find his creator, to see if he can extend that 4-year lifespan. Just like humans do when they go to the doctor and they're diagnosed with some fatal disease. We beg, we plead for, God, just a little more time. We want to live, and the replicants just want to live. Is that a crime? And Hauer has beautiful dialogue in this movie that actually kind of brings you to tears. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in the rain. Tears in the rain. Beautiful. Basically just summarizes death to a T. We are here on this earth for a very brief time. Maybe our lives will be recorded, in a book or on a YouTube channel. Or maybe we'll pass it on to our descendants. And maybe those descendants might pass it on to their descendants, but they die, and then they die, and then they die, until eventually our lives that we knew it and everything that we saw is gone. But that is the beautiful thing about life. It's ever fleeting. We are here for what, 80 years, maybe 100 if everything works out correctly? And then we're just gone. Really makes you want to seize the day. Plus, that tears in the rain part was improvised on the day, which I think is so cool. Because that line is really one of the big things that this film is known for. Now, another thing that this movie is known for is the controversy behind the Deckard character. It is theorized that Deckard is actually a replicant himself, and he doesn't know it. There is a strange unicorn dream sequence that Deckard has, plus there is a scene where when Deckard turns around, his eyes glow amber like the replicants do, just for a brief moment. So it's been hypothesized for many years that Deckard is actually a replicant. Now, as of this recording, I have not seen Blade Runner 2049, so I don't know if they addressed this in that movie. So, up until this point, Deckard being a replicant is up in the air for me. But that mystery behind the Deckard character being a replicant is why this movie gained such a cult following after it was released. The one thing that really bothers me in this movie, though, is that love scene that Deckard has with the replicant. Sean Young's character gets upset and tries to leave the apartment, but Deckard blocks the door and basically forces himself on her, forces her to kiss him until she finally succumbs. I'm sorry, but in my book, that is rape, and I'm not really okay with that. It made me lose a lot of points about caring for Deckard in this movie. Of course, there's a whole argument that, oh, she's a replicant, she's not really a person. I'm sorry, rape is rape. And it's just a weird choice for Ridley Scott to put that in this movie. It really comes out of nowhere, and I think it's uncalled for and unnecessary. So in the end, guys, Blade Runner is great. This is a great film. It's one of those movies that maybe on first watching you don't get, but then if you revisit it, I think you will start to love and appreciate a lot of the subtleties of this movie. The beautiful symbolism of humanity and what it means to be human. And the projections of where we saw humanity going into the future. Plus, it's a beautiful love letter to film noirs. It's just done in a sci-fi world. All of these elements combined makes this a fascinating experience. And I totally recommend you checking it out if you haven't already. So, I'm gonna give Blade Runner 4.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I think I see blue. He looks glorious.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part in my videos where I randomly select which movie I'm watching next. Let's take a look, shall we? Oh, another Ridley Scott film, Kingdom of Heaven. Speaking of ones with different cuts, I've only seen the theatrical cut, but I do know that the director's cut came out a couple of years ago. And for what I've been told, that version is vastly improved and vastly better than the theatrical, which actually kind of makes me happy because I really like the theatrical version. I will find the director's version and watch it for this review just so I can give a nice, well-rounded one. Alright everyone, have you seen Blade Runner? What did you think about it? Or, if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And when you're done commenting, please like and subscribe to my channel so you know the next time I post my next movie review. So everyone, I will see you next time with my review of Kingdom of Heaven. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.